have Tzu Chi volunteers in Malaysia and the United States tend to those affected by natural disasters. We find out why pollution generated from cleaning detergent can harm the environment and our health. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Helen Now. Thank you for joining us. In Malaysia on April 10, a storm swept through Malacca's Taman Mesara Ring community, damaging dozens of houses. Following the storm, Tzu Chi volunteers arrived at the community with consolation cash, eco-friendly blankets, and peace chimes. Meanwhile, in the United States, Seattle Tzu Chi volunteers arrived at Darlington, Washington to tend to those devastated by the massive landslide that struck on March 22nd. On March 22nd, a fatal mudslide struck Darlington, Washington, leaving at least 25 people dead. After contacting the Federal Emergency Management Agency, Seattle Tzu Chi volunteers quickly mobilized to organize an aid distribution. At the distribution venue, a mudslide survivor who lost her husband in the tragedy explained to the volunteers what happened on the date of the disaster. With the help of the American Red Cross, Tzu Chi volunteers were able to distribute cash cards to the survivors without a hitch. On the second day, despite the cold weather, the volunteers' warm greetings and smiles brought a touch of warmth to the survivors.
By faith in God and you people and a good organization, and where your heart is, your treasure will be also. And I'm really proud to be here and thankful for everything that you guys do.
They're working, they're serving. I know that people are making a sacrifice. This is their time and their travel, and it makes us feel humble. Why would you come? Why would you do all of these good things?
I just find it really cool that you improve your own lives and the lives of others, and I don't know, it's something that's really interesting to me. And grabbed one of these, and start putting money in it, donating.
To pay the love forward, many survivors happily adopt a bamboo coin bank, as they know the money donated to the NGO will go towards helping a good cause. Meanwhile, in Malaysia's Malacca, a devastating storm struck through the community of Taman Mesara Rim on April 10, leaving dozens of houses severely damaged.
We don't even have a place to sleep. My 2-year-old baby doesn't have extra clothes to wear. I just want to cry because I don't know what to do. We are in need of help. The storm damaged my home.
According to the residents of the community, they have never experienced such a devastating storm. Divaki, who was alone at home when the storm hit, burst into tears when remembering it.
When I walked out of my house, I saw the roof get blown away. I just started crying.
Upon receiving Tzu Chi's consolation cash and eco-friendly blanket, Daviki once again breaks into tears.
It doesn't matter if we receive consolation cash or not. We just need someone to care for us. Thank you all for coming.
Other than tending to storm survivors' anxious hearts, volunteers also encourage them to adopt Tzu Chi's bamboo coin banks to help those in greater need.
平安，就在家里，你们大家都平安。
We visited the disaster survivors door to door. They were very touched by our gesture, and many even cried tears of joy. They kept thanking us for all the support.
Thanks to volunteers' visit, residents here have regained the strength to move on, while 29 of them decided to join the volunteers' ranks to pay the love forward. Earlier in April, in Malaysia's Tan Bin, a fire broke out at an appliance shop which belongs to a Tzu Chi volunteer and his partners. Luckily, as the fire was discovered early on, it was put out before anyone was hurt. However, the flames blackened the interior walls of the shop, thus fellow volunteers came together to help restore the shop to its original look. But first, we go to Thailand to follow up on the story of a suspected World War II era bomb explosion that we reported on last week. Recently, Tzu Chi volunteers returned to the scene to conduct a disaster assessment.
Returning to the scene of the suspected World War II era bomb explosion in Bangkok, Thailand, debris and charred remains are all that's left. On April 10th, Tzu Chi volunteers returned to the scene and set up a temporary service center to survey the needs of the survivors.
I'm very grateful for the assistance of these kind-hearted people. Currently, I'm most worried about my daughter's tuition fee. I have some savings, but I haven't been able to work lately. So I'm afraid when school starts up again, I won't have enough.
Not only the scrapyard, but the surrounding buildings and those who lived in them were affected by the explosion. On the first day of the service center, volunteers helped 82 of the 180 families affected.
We are conducting a survey of the needs of each disaster survivor to see what they've lost and what their current situation is.
The incident took 9 lives and injured 19 people. After a complete survey of the needs of the survivors, Tzu Chi volunteers will hold a relief distribution in the near future. Meanwhile, in Malaysia's Tambin, a fire broke out in an appliance shop. Upon learning of the situation, Tzu Chi volunteers came to help and offer consolation money. One of the business partners in turn donated the money back to charity.
I appreciate the gesture, but we don't need it. I want to donate the money to help the less fortunate.
Another business partner of the appliance shop, Chen Shunfa, who is also a Tzu Chi volunteer, had to leave the cleanup work to attend Tzu Chi's annual board meeting in Taiwan. However, his fellow volunteers were there to help in his place. Chen Shunfa's wife, Tan Yan-mei, also pitched in, and with everyone's help, in 3 hours' time, the store was back in business.
We live in the time of the 5 corruptions. Wiping this clean, we, however, return to our original pure nature.
After 2 days of cleaning, employees finally break into smiles.
Otherwise, every day when we come to work, we will have to face the blackened walls. It has been tiring and backbreaking, but I'm thankful for those who pitch in to help us clean up.
Whether it is aiding disaster survivors or helping to clean up after a fire, Tzu Chi volunteers are always ready to lend a helping hand.
Man-made engineering has always been there as a solution to conquer nature. However, with the increasing damage natural disasters are bringing, citizens and government officials are not taking an active stance to strengthen man-made engineering structures. For instance, in the hilly Taipei city, government officials have assigned an identification number for each retaining wall to keep track of its maintenance record. Here's more.
Government workers are recording this man-made slope's length, width, height, and steepness.
调查过程中，我们把所有的尺寸一些可以记录的东西都先记录下来。
间距198。
The higher the retaining wall, the more likely problems will occur.
The retaining wall's surface and its surrounding environment also needs to be checked for cracks. Upon inspection, most areas only need minor fixes. However, this particular retaining wall needed a major renovation.
After the rod rusted, it expanded and broke through the surface, cracking the cement. After we remove the rust, we will see if the steel rod is broken, and if so, we will chisel and remove it.
Sloped land makes up 55% of Taipei City, and monitoring it is so important that the government has set up a department to watch over it.
初步统计，
Initial reports document about 33,000 man-made slope like these retaining walls. We keep track of each wall to prevent damage to them and to reduce the possibility of a landslide in a natural disaster.
我想整个拖地的风险就更低。
In preventing landslides from occurring after land shaping, artificial slopes and retaining walls are monitored and given each their own identification number.
像这种
The retaining wall is here to prevent the soil from sliding down after the land has been shaped. If the protection system is not strong enough, then landslides can occur, usually on a large scale.
The importance of assigning retaining walls an identification number is so that the wall's maintenance crew will be there to make repairs.
It serves as a reminder for them to make repairs when needed to prevent a disaster from happening. When the Lincoln Mansion incident happened, it caused massive damage. When retaining walls fail, it usually directly affects homes.
As well, now there is a mobile app that gives residents geological information of the land they live on.
This white area is actually the Wuzhishan Formation. This way you can see this red area is a dip slope area, and its possible landslide movement is towards that direction. This app uses landmarks and housing numbers to pinpoint your location. You can also turn on the GPS function to mark your location.
Although this application has the benefit of GPS, a governmental disaster potential map also provides all the necessary information.
That's a key to tell you what the different colored areas mean. Maybe members of the public may not be able to remember what a deep slope or debris avalanche means, but they will know these marked areas are areas where landslides may occur.
However useful these maps are, further survey of the geology of the land is always recommended when purchasing houses or developing land.
Although an area is not flagged as dangerous, it does not necessarily mean it's safe. For example, if you're looking to build in this area that's not marked, I need to remind you that the surrounding areas has the potential for deep slope occurrence. Thus, if you really want to build houses here, you need to survey the land more closely.
Man-made engineering has always been there to overcome obstacles set out by nature. However, in reality, Mother Nature can strike back. Therefore, only in taking a preventative stance can citizens protect themselves and their family members.
Total annual consumption of cleaning agents in Taiwan is estimated to be 200,000 tons, which means each person uses about 9 kilograms of detergent annually. And as a result, 225 liters of wastewater containing chemical properties are discharged into our rivers each day. Once these chemicals make their way into our environment, the pollution generated can cause unthinkable consequences.
While an attractive advert and effective product will draw the attention of consumers, has it ever occurred to you that we're also contributing to the pollution of our waters through the use of these cleaning agents? Domestic wastewater containing various chemical properties account for 60% of the pollutants that cause river pollution in Taiwan. Overall, consumers use 200,000 tons of detergent each year, and as manufacturers continue to introduce new products, the market is booming with opportunities.
Some laundry detergents contain optical brighteners, so I usually go with the brand I feel is effective and one that leaves clothes fresh and soft.
I prefer a laundry detergent that is more natural or those that don't have chemical substance which could harm our body.
Trouble is, however, consumers have no way of distinguishing whether chemical compounds contained in detergents are hazardous or not. As a result, these chemicals are released into our environment.
These include substances such as loniphenol, LAS, persistent organic pollutants, or bioaccumulative toxic substances.
The majority of the detergents sold on the market are made with more or less the same ingredients. However, in order to segment the market, manufacturers are including more and more substances in their products. Findings released by an environmental group at the end of last year proved that certain detergents contain harmful substances.
Cleaning agents contain chemical substances such as thiabendazole, glutaraldehyde, and permethrin. Such chemicals, often used as insecticides and antiseptics, should not be contained in laundry cleaners.
Antiseptics and disinfectants usually used in farming or medicine have also been tested in laundry detergents, however, are often omitted from the label.
Management of chemicals requires 3 licenses, one from the manufacturer, a product license, and a business license.
Even the majority of the toothpastes and dishwashing liquids that claim to have antibacterial properties contain endocrine disruptors.
It won't tell you what those antibacterial agents are, but based on past experience, if it's an antibacterial dishwashing liquid, the probability of it testing positive for triclosan is very high.
In other words, if a product contains carcinogens, the consumer will have no way of knowing, since it's not clearly listed on the label. And even if the level of these substances are low, these toxins are still eventually released into our environment, impacting, for instance, our drinking water.
这个九龙路出来的那个污水，它也24个小时都可以排的，没有水吃了。检查3次，你是到癌了，不行了。
This footage supplied by Greenpeace shows the prevalence of hazardous chemicals in the Yangtze River and how it has put the health of local residents at risk. And Taiwan's toxic detergent incident also highlights a lack of proper management regarding chemicals in the country.
The truth is, Taiwan lacks adequate chemical control when it comes to chemical utilization. There is no way of knowing just how many chemicals are filtering our rivers, our environment, and our food chain through the detergents we are using.
While we try to fight off the toughest stains on our clothing, perhaps what we neglect to think about is how our actions are in fact harming ourselves and our environment.
As part of Tzu Chi's annual board meeting in Hualien, Taiwan, Singapore Tzu Chi volunteers share with audience members how they prepare for the Water Repentance Sutra musical and how they have been promoting Master Cheng Yin's wisdom at dawn broadcast in their country. Meanwhile, Canada Tzu Chi volunteers spoke on how Tzu Chi's educational and medical missions have taken root in their local communities.
Canada is the world's second largest country and has the highest immigration rate. In 2009, Tzu Chi volunteers were invited to attend the country's public oath of citizenship ceremony, where they worked to spread Tzu Chi's ideals to the country's new citizens.
After these new citizens acquire their Canadian citizenship, we give them a Jinsi aphorism volume.
We want to extend our blessings to residents in Canada. We hope they will be proud to be Master Cheng Yin's disciples.
In 2007, Canada Tzu Chi volunteers found their way into the Windsor Elementary School. There, the volunteers implemented their Blue Sky project, offering students free breakfasts every day.
And we have a variety of students that come. Some kids are the same almost every day, but then we get others that join. That's important to us, that it be a program available to everyone.
虽然我们蓝天助学计划帮助了很多学生。
This Blue Sky project has not only helped numerous students, but also taught them to pay the love forward. They take PET bottles to exchange them for money and donate it to the Blue Sky project. Aren't they great?
他们棒不棒？
Other than educational missions, local volunteers also introduced traditional Chinese medicine into local communities and organized healthcare workshops to help residents better understand the principles of Chinese medicine.
因为原住民的医疗在加拿大是一个很
The indigenous people's lack of access to healthcare has been a major problem in Canada. However, Tzu Chi's Chinese medicine clinics can be the solution. We will gradually set up these clinics in indigenous communities.
In 2013, the Surrey and Richmond liaison offices were set up, offering timely assistance to the needy in Canada, with their works widely supported by local government officials. Next, the representatives of Singapore Tzu Chi volunteers take to the stage to introduce Tzu Chi's work in their country. In 2013, to mark the 20th birthday of the Singapore chapter, local volunteers organized performances of the Water Repentance Sutra, which were attended by 16,500 local residents. Prior to the musical performance, on-stage volunteers vowed to go meatless as they work in unison to reproduce the Buddhist classic. Overall, 424 new volunteers were recruited during the event.
We all know the importance of the Buddha Dharma. We need to believe in the Dharma and walk the Bodhisattva path.
Recently, Singapore Tzu Chi volunteers have been calling to the public to watch Master Cheng Yin's Wisdom at Dawn broadcast. Every day, over 200 volunteers gather at their local Tzu Chi office to absorb Master Cheng Yin's Dharma and wisdom.
佛法最重要呢，是要让我们真正的闻法入心，身体力行，如何把法用得进来？这种法入心，才能呢 自度度人呐。
In 2014, Singapore opened its first DaAi Educare Center, providing young students an opportunity to learn Tzu Chi's humanitarian spirit and grow up right.
In the process, we want to spread Tzu Chi's humanistic values and cultivate mobility seeds to spread love and compassion.
Passing on the Dharma to their community, Singapore Tzu Chi volunteers vow to continue their efforts and recruit more like-minded people back home.
At Tzu Chi's annual board meeting, volunteers from the Philippines took to the stage to share stories of their Typhoon Haiyan relief efforts and their work in the country over the past year. Thanks to their efforts, many local residents have been empowered to join the ranks of the volunteers and have vowed to make a difference in the future.
After Typhoon Haiyan devastated the Philippines in November of 2013, Tzu Chi mobilized its volunteers to help over 65,000 families, employ nearly 300,000 workers through its Cash for Work program, and helped over 8,000 patients at its free clinics. With each encounter, Tzu Chi's wisdom and love were passed on to recipients.
During our aid distributions, many people came with their own bamboo coin banks. We didn't give those to them. Actually, each of them had found a PET bottle which they used to collect their spare change every day. Till this day, the practice continues.
5 volunteer training seminars were subsequently held in Omak and Tacloban, where over 13,000 locals vowed to become Tzu Chi volunteers and help safeguard the planet.
With Tzu Chi's help, they are able to stand up again and embrace hope again. But they want more than that now. They want to become seeds of goodness and grow into a big tree.
In September of the same year, fighting in Zamboanga scarred the body and mind of many Filipinos. To help restore hope in the area, Tzu Chi erected prefabricated classrooms.
Only positive teachings may bring about closure. Zamboanga still has a long way to go to recover. Only universal love can heal the wounds.
Realizing the importance of a proper education, local volunteers also continue to provide aid and subsidies to students in need and hosted classes to help impart proper value to students.
A seed will eventually grow up and bear fruit, which gives us hope. Parents' hope lies in their children, and children's hope lies in a proper education, so education cannot wait.
全球家人最虔诚的感恩心，感恩。
In the Philippines, Tzu Chi volunteers shall continue to give selflessly and walk the Bodhisattva path.
We go back to Taiwan at the end of the show. 76-year-old Grandma Deng has been an active Tzu Chi recycling volunteer for 15 years. Despite her old age, Deng insists on volunteering every day to reduce the burden on our planet. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.